Welcome to Audiobook 365 Stories.
I suppose if Bingo had been a serious person, he would have felt very sad about his broken engagement. But I didn't let it bother me much. Less than a week later, I saw Bingo dancing happily at a club. Bingo always bounces back. When he's in love, he takes it very seriously. But when the girl says goodbye, he's happy again in no time. I've seen it happen many times. So I didn't worry about him. Life was going well for me too. I was winning money on horse races. The weather was great, and my new socks were perfect. Best of all, my Aunt Agatha was in France, so she couldn't bother me for 6 weeks. One morning, I felt so happy I started singing in the bath. Life seemed perfect. But just when you think things are great, trouble shows up. After my bath, I saw a letter from Aunt Agatha on the mantelpiece. "Oh no," I said. "Sir," said Jeeves, my valet, who was busy in the room. "It's from my Aunt Agatha. She wants me to join her in Roville-sur-Mer," I said sadly. "Shall I pack your things, sir?" asked Jeeves. "Yes, I suppose so," I replied. It's hard to explain why my Aunt Agatha scares me so much. She doesn't control my money or anything like that. It's just her personality. Since I was a child, she could make me nervous with just one look. She's tall with a sharp nose, eagle eyes, and gray hair, and she's very serious. When Aunt Agatha said I must go to Roville, I didn't even think about saying no. If she said I had to go, I had to go. "Why do you think she wants me, Jeeves?" I asked my valet. "I don't know, sir," he replied. "There was only one good thing about this trip. Roville seemed like the perfect place to finally wear the bright red sash I had bought months ago. I hadn't worn it yet because I knew Jeeves wouldn't approve, but Roville sounded cheerful and full of life. Felt like the right place for it. After a rough boat ride and a bad night on the train, I arrived in Roville early in the morning. It's a nice place with beaches, hotels, and casinos. Without Aunt Agatha, it would be perfect for a fun week. Aunt Agatha was staying at the Hotel Splendide. By the time I got there, the hotel staff looked exhausted. I knew why. Aunt Agatha always complains. She had probably made them change her room more than once and told them everything that was wrong with the hotel. When I met her, she seemed happy but in a serious way. She almost acted like a mother. "I'm so glad you came, Bertie," said Aunt Agatha. "The fresh air here is much better for you than London nightclubs." "Oh, yes," I said. "You'll meet some nice people. I want you to meet Miss Hemingway and her brother. They are great friends of mine. Miss Hemingway is a quiet, lovely girl, very different from the bold girls in London. Her brother is a curate in Dorset. They come from a very good family. Miss Hemingway is charming." I felt nervous. Aunt Agatha usually criticizes everyone, but now she was praising Miss Hemingway. I suspected something bad. And I was right. Aline Hemingway is the kind of girl I want you to marry. Bertie, she said, you should think about marriage. It would help you grow up. Aline would be a good wife and a great influence on you. Wait a minute, I said, shocked. Bertie, Aunt Agatha said, giving me a serious look. But I don't want to get married. You waste your life, Bertie, she said. You're lazy and selfish. You should marry and start a family. Aunt Agatha, please, I said, feeling embarrassed. She often forgot she wasn't at one of her women's club meetings. Before she could say more, someone interrupted us. Ah, here they are, Aunt Agatha said. Aline, dear. A girl and a man walked toward us, smiling. This is my nephew, Bertie Wooster, Aunt Agatha said. He just arrived. Such a surprise. I looked at the two carefully, feeling trapped, like a cat surrounded by dogs. I had a bad feeling about this. The brother was a small man with a round face that looked a bit like a sheep. He wore glasses and a stiff collar that buttoned at the back. Welcome to Rowville, Mr. Wooster, he said kindly. Oh, Sydney, the girl said. Doesn't Mr. Wooster remind you of Canon Blenkinsop, who came to preach at Chipley last Easter? Yes, the resemblance is striking, he agreed. They stared at me like I was something in a museum. I stared back and looked at the girl. She was very different from the bold London girls Aunt Agatha always complained about. She wore a plain dress, her hair was neat, and she had a mild, kind face. She looked so respectable that I thought, she must play the organ in a village church. We chatted a bit, and before I left, I was invited to take them for a drive that afternoon. This made me so gloomy that I decided I needed cheering up. I went to my room, found my bright red cummerbund, and put it on. Just then, Jeeves walked in and froze like he'd seen a ghost. Sir, you're not planning to wear that in public, are you? He asked in a serious tone. The cummerbund? Of course, I said cheerfully. I wouldn't recommend it, sir. Very loud. Jeeves, I said firmly, you're too stuck in your ways. This is Rowville, not London. Here, a bit of color is expected. I even saw a man downstairs wearing a yellow velvet suit. Very good, sir, said Jeeves, looking disapproving. It was upsetting. Jeeves and I were clearly not on the same page, and now things felt tense. Add Aunt Agatha's plan to marry me off to Miss Hemingway, and I was feeling pretty unloved. The drive that afternoon was as bad as I expected. The curate talked nonstop about boring things, the girl admired the view, and I got a headache that started at my feet and moved up. By the time we returned, I was miserable. I went to my room to change for dinner, feeling completely done in. If it weren't for the earlier fight over the cummerbund, I would have shared my troubles with Jeeves. But I couldn't keep everything to myself. Jeeves, I said. Yes, sir. Make me a strong brandy and soda. Yes, sir. Strong, Jeeves. A little soda, but a lot of brandy. Very good, sir. After drinking it, I felt a bit better. Jeeves, I said. Yes, sir. I think I'm in big trouble. Indeed, sir. He still seemed distant, probably upset about the cummerbund. I tried to explain. Have you seen a girl around here with her brother? The parson? Miss Hemingway, sir? Yes, sir. Aunt Agatha wants me to marry her. Indeed, sir. Well, what do you think? Sir? I mean, do you have any advice? No, sir. His cold and formal tone annoyed me, so I tried to act cheerful. Oh, well, never mind, I said. Exactly, sir, said Jeeves. And that was the end of the conversation.